Uh, I was thinking the other day. Sorry, guys, I'm full of wine, so it's tangent time.
First
Uh,
one of the year, tick it off.
that's right. Get your bingo cards out. But yeah, no, I was thinking, as I often do. I don't remember what I was watching, but I was thinking about back in the day. I was watching Fallout, which made me think, because Todd Howard's really killing it on Fallout, um, which is sad because he's not killing it on the
Anywhere else.
games. Yeah, which then made me think of Oblivion. And I was like, was Oblivion really good, or did I just strongly believe in Todd Howard and Bethesda at the time?
Strongly
But
believed
no,
in Todd Howard.
no, I think Oblivion is actually good. But then I jumped from there and was like, I was so angry when Horse Armor came out. And the reason I was so angry that that's one of the first DLCs,
Mm-hmm.
commercially available DLCs to ever happen. But I remember what made me more angry than anything was that I had the physical copy of Oblivion, because it's Xbox 360.
Yep.
On my disc was the Horse Armor DLC, but I couldn't access it until I paid a fee.
Yep.
And I remember how angry that made me. And yet here I am now. What is it, like 20 years later?
Uh,
2007,
it was 2000.
8,
No, it
9,
was 2006, wasn't it?
6, 7, 8. Yeah, around
Yeah.
that
So we're
time.
now 20 years later.
Oh gosh. Okay, I was joking. I didn't think it was actually 20 years later, but here I am now on my iPad and I just click a little button and I buy something that doesn't even exist and I pay money for it.
Yep.
And that's weird, which is going to lead into my bigger conversation that we'll have here in just a second about AI, which is I'm just on a pure rant about that. But right now, I need to stop talking. And
No, because
Princess
we
Horse Armor made
No,
everyone
because
angry.
we need to go into it. Like we've got something
Okay.
else that we need to cover that's much larger in scope. So,
Yes, so
um,
I didn't get to do my talky bit about AI.
so just to preface this, we covered news story just before we went on break. Kylie wasn't here for that episode.
Mm-hmm.
We were joined by Mike,
I was so
Brent,
sick.
and Nana,
Yeah.
where we discussed obviously the usage of generative AI by Larian Studios and Sven Vinke's talking points about it, and then obviously the revelation, or I say revelation, the news story that came up about Sandfall Interactive using generative AI for
Mm-hmm.
a piece of concept art that actually made it into the game that was eventually patched out 5 days later. So it then got discounted from the indie awards from
Yep.
winning any awards because they have a very strict no AI usage. So it was a bit
What?
of a mess. So I would say go back and listen to the episode if you want to get caught up on that. But that's just the TLDR more than anything. So
Yo.
Kylie, the floor is yours. Say what you need to say about
Okay.
generative AI.
So
You're done.
it's because I mean, like for real, the wine is flowing like the spice. But the CEO of Microsoft said, I think it was this week,
Satya
stop
Nadella.
calling. Yep. I knew I wasn't going to pronounce his name right, but I knew Pete would.
Well, it's the guy that we it's the guy that we now officially have called Satya Nutella.
Yes. Yes.
We gave them all
Um.
stupid names last year after all the Xbox is dead stuff,
Yep.
basically.
Which yes, which will lead.
Uh,
I'll lead into that.
well,
But
well, Matt Booty then became Matt Asshole.
yeah, I was rooting for him too. But what was his name? Yeah, he said, please don't call AI slop anymore. It's not slop. We've invested millions. He didn't say this part. We invested millions of dollars into our AI. Please stop calling it slop. Uh, I think the poor billionaires. Oh, my heart bleeds
Oh,
for
well,
them.
someone please think of the billionaires.
Someone please thank the billionaires. I think that it's finally hitting some of them that we don't want it. Nobody asked for this. Nobody
Duh.
wants it. And they're going to suffer for it. And they know, I think the writing is starting to become a bit clearer. But with
It
that,
is and it isn't, but carry on.
yeah. Yeah, Brent says 30% of all MS code has been written by AI.
And
It's,
funnily enough, they broke Windows 11 by doing so, that they had to bring
yep.
actual coders in to fix it.
Yes.
when they completely balked a normal system function.
Probably at double or triple the cost than if they would have just had human devs. But with that said, I have now come to a decision. So I'm in that point, and I think most of us are actually. We're kind of in the interim of what are we going to do console wise? And I thought, do I wait and buy the new Microsoft one? Do I wait and buy the new PlayStation one? Do I just give in and buy a Switch 2 that I know I'm not going to play? I thought, no, but I am really leaning towards handheld. So then my brain goes, okay, well, which handheld? We've got the Steam Deck, we've got that LG one that I can't remember what it's called, but it's running Steam OS. And we've got ROG Ally Xbox. And I thought, I've been watching all the, like, where they take it apart, and look at it. Breakdowns or whatever on ROG Ally.
That's your choice. That's your choice.
That's why I'm ignoring, because yes. So, because the ROG Ally X Windows, which is the one that, everyone knows I was leaning towards, because was an Xbox fangirl, people are struggling with it because it is erroring, it is constantly updating, it's not recognizing certain things, and it's like, oh, it's a Windows machine.
It's running everything Windows in the background, including Office, Teams, Copilot.
Yep, this is
it's
where...
a piece of crap.
This is where my brain started going, no, I've made my decision. I am not getting a ROG Ally X, Xbox.
Oh, good. It's only taken you several months to realise.
It has, but this is how...
Progress is slow, but progress is progress.
This is how I make decisions. And then, so, yes, I think I'm settling on... I'm just going to Steam Deck, whatever the latest iteration is. Because it's Steam Deck. It runs everything. And I can put Linux in there, which leads me to my next point. Linux.
I'm now titling the episode Linux.
The reason why I say that, A, that is how you pronounce it, but B,
no, it's Linux or Linux.
No, it's actually Linux, but
I don't care.
But this is like GIF versus GIF. Nobody pronounces it Linux except for Linus Torvald, the guy who created it, and the only reason I know that is because that the gentleman that I take care of, Alan, is a programmer. He lives and dies by, like, Linux and stuff like that. He hates that I call it Linux. He sent me a voice clip of Linus Torvald going, Linux. So it's in my head going, Linux. Yes, exactly, Brent. Pecan versus pecan. But, and yes, then I agree with that. The AI bubble will burst. It will. It's inevitable. It has to.
It's going to have to, but my God, is it only going to get worse from now on because of the VRAM and the physical RAM prices are absolutely skyrocketing, including graphics cards.
Yep, which is my next point. Leads straight into perfect segue. So, one thing that Linus Torvald has always been against, which is NVIDIA. 20 years ago, again, Pete, 20 years ago, I was a purist. I was into open source, Linux. I was just very indie games, all this kind of stuff. I mean, it's probably no surprise, very alternative thinking, and I didn't want to be part of the mainstream. And then I started making money, and then I just bought whatever I wanted to buy, which was mainly mainstream stuff. But now, I'm so offended by the AI slop. That's right, Microsoft, AI slop. That I'm not supporting NVIDIA anymore. Done. I'm going for now back to AMD.
Oh, they're not as good, to be honest. Like,
they're not, but they're better than.
It's better. It's better than like NVIDIA, because NVIDIA are terrible, to be honest.
They're terrible. I'll tell you what did it. What did it for me? Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, the issue is that obviously every single thing is now wanting to use AMD.
Yep.
So prices are skyrocketing quite heavily, and they're fully capitalizing on that in a major way.
But the new GPUs from Nvidia are going to be $5,000,
Mm-hmm.
which then made me think back 20 years ago. No, even it was further than that. Early 2000s is when I bought my first computer. I had to work my ass off for it. It was $1,100. I
Yep.
think it had like 512K, RAM or whatever. Because we're talking about early 2000s. It was top
Of
of the
course.
line, and it was called an open box. This is where I learned to buy demos and open box stuff. And I bought it at Circuit City, which does not exist anymore. but
Rip
back
Circuit
then,
C.
yeah. But back then, that's what computers cost. Way back in my day, I'm pretty sure it was equivalent over here in the UK. They were
It
eleven
probably
hundred
was, yeah.
dollars. I assume they were probably £1,100 over here. Now here we are, 20 years later, after experiencing all these prices just going down, and anyone could afford a home computer. And Microsoft's whole tagline was a computer in every home, or Windows in every home, or whatever it was. It's like because they're going to make it affordable and blah blah. We're now going to be back to where like Alienware was a brand that existed 20 years ago before it got bought out.
Well, yeah, before it got bought by
Yeah.
Dell.
Yes. I forgot who Dell got bought by. Before all of that happened, Alienware was the cream of the crop. You couldn't get a laptop for under $6,000.
Nope. No, you
A
couldn't.
gaming laptop. We're now back to that. And I don't want to go back to that because that's back when like Far Cry and Crysis came out and no one could afford those builds. They couldn't play the games because nobody could afford, a Crysis level build. And how did we went backwards.
Yeah,
We've gone
I don't
backwards.
understand how we did. It was ridiculous.
So, in an almost protest against it, I am switching, probably not going to do consoles. I'm going to go to handheld for this interim period. Who knows? It could be up to 5 years, but the interim period, where all this settles. And then with my PC, I think I'm just going to build it from scratch, and I'm going to do AMD and Linux for sure, and then I just need to go through and figure out what else I'm going to do. But I am publicly saying I've spent the last 5 years on this show, well, I guess 6 years, we're coming up to 6, as the Xbox Microsoft fangirl.
Mm-hmm.
I am no longer that. I have no respect for Microsoft. I've lost all of respect for it. They're ruining their legacy. We know Halo is now coming out on like PlayStation, and they're redoing CE, and except it's not, now it's, not multiplayer or whatever. They're going to be redoing Halo 2. They're re-releasing that, which was just redone, and it's beautifully redone in the Master Chief Collection. So for the next 3 or 4 years, we're rehashing Halo. No new Halo, which may actually be good in the end, just because they ruined it.
I think that's probably a good thing, because Halo
Yeah.
kind of sucks since 343 Halo Studios were involved.
They never did anything with it, was the problem. They released Halo Infinite, and then it just sat there. Like a big steaming pile of
crap.
stuff. Yes. So my allegiance to Xbox and Microsoft, I'm done. My allegiance is to whoever makes the best games.
Honestly, I don't blame you. I would
Yeah.
probably think the same myself. Whilst
Yeah,
I scroll
it's
through
just-
looking for a new graphics card.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Nana says, wow, Microsoft finally broke Kiley. They did. This was, or last year was the year that they did it when they fired their QA testers.
Yeah.
And hired an entire department of AI. I was getting on shaky ground, and then just ever since that, I'm done. Nope, I'm out.
Totally awful,
I'm out.
honestly. It's so ridiculous.
I will not even touch Windows 11. It's just, no. Nope. Anyway, that's my rant about how AI destroyed the gaming industry. For more news on that, check out what Pete has to say. I'm gonna drink.
I mean, let's be honest, like, the way that the industry is going at the moment, we're going to be talking about it on various different news stories that come out through the year, so probably a good way to start the year is basically lay your cards down on the table and go, yeah, I'm not interested. Hello,
Hi, Flame. How are you?
Yeah, it's quite a hotbed of issues,
I'm done.
I don't agree with, like, most of what was said, if I'm honest. I do agree with a lot. I think a lot of what has been said online is a lot of crap. by quite a few people who are not very intelligent because they just wanted to jump on a bandwagon and say things.
Right.
But the excessive use of AI has obviously made things a lot worse than what it should have done, because companies are investing such extortionate amounts of money rather than employing good people to do things like they used to do. Like, it's become this buzzword. It was like AI will fix everything, but actually it's gonna ruin everything. And I mentioned this on the show, like, when you weren't here. It's bloody hilarious that gaming laptops, or just laptops in general now, like, they're coming with 8 GB of memory or with RAM, and these terrible graphics cards that have got no VRAM in them whatsoever. But Microsoft is stating that they need a minimum of 16 gigs to even run Copilot properly, which is essential to running Windows 11 nowadays. And it's like, well, what's the freaking point of even buying a laptop anymore? Like, you might as well go and build your own PC, but trying to build your own PC is an absolute mess at the moment, like you said.
It is. It just is.
I mean, I don't want Windows. I don't, but I know nothing else. And I'm not.
Well, that's how they've got the monopoly.
I know, but I'm not willing to go and sit there and try and learn Linux
I
or Linux or whatever you want to call it.
I call it Linux.
I know. I'm just not gonna. I'm not gonna spend my time trying to learn Linux, because it is a complicated system as is anyway. And if one thing breaks on it, I'm screwed. I've got no clue what I'm doing. I need my PC for convenience, for running this podcast and playing games, and that is all. If I want to muck around with Linux, I'll do it on the Steam Deck.
Yes, do that.
Yeah, do it on the Steam Deck.